Hello and welcome to this third video of my 5-video training series where we are looking at passive income opportunities within the online investment industry. In the first video we have been looking at the basics of your business, so at your attitude, factors of success, your mindset and all these things to set your business up right. In the last video, we have been looking at risk management. So what sort of risk can be involved in the business and how we minimize your risk. In this video, we will be looking at strategy. So for example, how much money do I invest per system? How many systems do I choose? And all these sort of things will be touched in this video. This video training series is designed that each video is the foundation for the next video. So take yourself time and watch each video in a row, so you have the foundation for the next videos coming. Before we get started, just very quick, this video training series is presented by me and myself. I'm Romina Flummi. You're most welcome to get in touch with me over Facebook. That's the easiest way to reach out to me. Just leave me a friendship request or a message and I will be more than happy to get in touch with you. If you are a newbie in the industry, I will be more than happy to help you out. If you're an investor, an online marketer, I'm more than happy to get in touch with you because I do believe we all sit in the same boat. So there's something that you can learn from me, but also I can learn from yourself. Okay, let's get started. The first topic I want to talk about is goal setting. I have touched goal setting in the previous videos and I want to take it a little bit further. So what is a realistic goal? So there is no right or wrong when it comes to realistic goal setting. So there's not a guideline that I can give you, but I can give you an example of what is actually possible. So if you have an investment, an initial investment of $2,000 or $3,000, you are able to make yourself within 6 months a 5-figure income. This is obviously not an everyday example if you only let your money work for yourself. But if you are happy to invest the time into your business, this is something that can happen for you. Set yourself your goals according to the amount of time, risk, and money you want to invest. So if you say, for example, you want to invest like $100 into a system and you invest a lot of time into your business, then obviously you can set yourself a goal depending on that. If you say, okay, you don't want to take a lot of risk and you don't have a lot of time at your hand, then obviously you set yourself a lower goal. If you say, okay, I want to take a little bit of more risk, you want to take a lot of more time, so you invest in opportunities that have a little bit of more returns and you put a lot of time into your business, then obviously your goal has to be a little bit higher or can be a little bit higher. Then also we want to have a time frame for our goals because we don't want to set ourselves goals that we can reach in 10 years. But it's not a good idea to have a too strict time frame, like for example 2 or 3 months, because we do know that every system can crash down at any point of time, no matter how stable it may appear. So set yourself goal within 6 to 12 months, so that way you allow your business to have its up and downs. Having goals that are more than 12 months, it's also a little bit harder because it's a little bit harder to forecast what happens in time frames that are more than 12 months. So always set yourself a reasonable time frame, not too short, but also not too long. It's very important. What I personally always do, and I would suggest for you, it's to always undercalculate. So for myself, I never calculate commissions into my plannings because commissions are a booster, a fast tracker of your results. So if your results are a little bit faster because you get referrals, then obviously you can fast track your business. But in case something goes wrong and the system crashes down, your commissions also balances the whole story out. I personally also calculate with a little bit less return. So for example, when I invest into a system with like up to 7% return, I always calculate with 5%. So in case something happens, there are market fluctuation or anything like that, I will not be thrown out of balance with my plannings, and I would always suggest you do the same thing. Then we want to set ourselves a big goal, a final goal. This is always depending on your situation. So if you set your goals, you have to know yourself how much time you have at your hands, how much money you have to invest, and how much work you want to put inside. So that way, always set a decent goal depending on your situation being. So the final goal is something that we want to reach per month. So everybody's a little bit different there. So some people want to withdraw per month. That's a final goal of $5,000. Some have $10,000, or some have $20,000 as the final goal. What I do when I reach my final goal, I start withdrawing. Okay, the reason why I do it is to have a financial cushion in my everyday bank account. So in case something happens, I can build myself another system. Is, for example, something crashes or market fluctuations are affecting my business. Obviously, there are a lot of different solutions to that one. So for example, there are people out there, they reach the final goal and withdraw 50-50 or 70-30 or 80-20. So whatever feels good for you, but it's always important to start withdrawing, to set yourself a financial cushion in your bank account in order to have something available if something affects your business. And I also talked about goal per system in the first video. You want to set yourself a first goal per system. So for example, $500 per system, $100 per system. You want to withdraw that money because within this industry, you have to withdraw money from previous systems to set your new system up. So that way you build yourself a stable and sustainable business rather than having only one opportunity. That opportunity breaks down. If that happens, you have a problem. So always strive to have as many income opportunities on income stream as you possibly can. So now we want to look at how many systems should I choose, how many systems make sense, what should I do, how should I build my strategy there. So in the beginning, I always would suggest, depending on the amount of funds you have available, to choose between 1 and 3 systems. If I tell or mention numbers in this video here, or in any videos I'm talking about numbers, it's always numbers from my personal perspective, from my personal experience. You might agree, you might not agree, so make yourself your own choices. But when I look at how many systems to choose, between 1 and 3 systems, depending on the amount of funds you want to invest. So if you have like an investment of amount of $500, it wouldn't make any sense to spread it out over more than one system. Especially if you have less, then it doesn't make sense at all, because you won't get anywhere with that, with the returns. If you have between $500 and $1,000 at your hands, it's a good idea to spread it about 1 and 2 systems, because if we have only one system, obviously we have higher risk, because if that system breaks down, then we are in a position that we have to start from scratch again. So we want to avoid that. But with $500, it is a good idea to choose a system where you can maximize your return, to build as much money as possible from your existing money in order to be able to build a second system. If you have $2,000 to $3,000 at your hands to invest, then I would suggest you spread it between 2 and 3 systems. So I personally started with $500 in one system, then I spread it a little bit out. My initial system, because I had a little bit of a funny gut feeling, were €50. So sometimes it's a good idea to listen to your gut feeling. It saved me quite a few times. When it comes to promotion, it's gonna be a little bit different. So I made the mistake in the beginning to promote several opportunities at a time. If I could travel back in time, I would do it differently. So when it comes to promotion, focus matters. So just promote one system in order to maximize your results there. Obviously, as I said, you can build yourself as many passive income streams as you wanted to, because that pretty much runs for itself. But if you want to promote one system, one legit, sustainable system is a good idea to promote. When it comes to choosing system, as I said, you can build yourself 10 systems if you wanted to. So there is no limitation, but you want to choose quality over quantity, because in the end of the day, it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't help you a lot if you invest in 10 systems and all 10 systems breaks down. So then rather have 5 systems that are sustainable, so that way you can build yourself also a sustainable business. So always strive to choose quality over quantity. And also when it comes to choosing your system and building system, it is an ongoing process. So in the end of the day, it's part of your work, and also your downline works if you choose to be a sponsor, to always look what is happening in the market, where are new systems that are coming out, and you want to always build your business. Obviously, this is you can take a rest from that. Is nothing new and good is coming onto the market, but you always want to be sort of on the ball, always evolving with the market. Okay, now the question, how much should you invest, especially when I'm in the beginning? What does make sense? And what should I do, and what should I what does make sense? So there are a couple of criteria out there. So I personally would not invest less than $500 per system. Obviously, if you have less money at your hands, like let's say $100 per month, you can still do it, but it's going to be a little bit harder in order to build your business. So there are a couple of criteria that you might want to consider if you choose the amount of funds that you want to invest. So expected profit and stability are 2 criteria. So if you have a system and you want to choose that system, if that system gives you more profits, let's say 10% per week, then obviously you can invest a little bit less in order to get your returns. If you have a stable system that has a little bit less profits, then you can invest more. So if you have if you have like 10% a week, you can invest a little bit less money. If you have a more stable system with less expected profit, then I would choose to invest a little bit more money. That's how I do it. Obviously, you can do it a little bit different, but this is what I would suggest doing. I also choose systems and also choose my initial investment amount per system, that I can reach my set small target, this target per system, between 3 and 6 months. So anything above that always increases your risk. So always try to reach your target within that time frame. So for example, if you want to reach your target of, let's say, your system of $100, you want to choose your initial investment for that system, so you can reach the target between 3 and 6 months. So this is what I would suggest you doing. And also you want to strive to get into profit at a maximum amount of time at 1 year. If you have, for example, a system that always only pays you 5% out or less than 5%, that's a system that I personally wouldn't invest into, because it just takes too long time in order to get into profit, and therefore it increases your risk. So your business won't go anywhere. So strive to have that sort of profit after 1 year. So I personally would suggest to have like 4 to 6% a week to start off with, and adjust my investment towards that sort of opportunity. But as I said, you have to know yourself what amount of funds you have at your hands. So I wouldn't invest less than $500 per system unless you have less money at your hands. And it's always important to think about only invest money that you can afford to lose. I talked about that in a previous video, and I will mention that again. It is very important to not borrow money. So that's at least how I see. There are people who disagree with that when I say that. Oops, I just wanted to get that a little bit down. So taking loans, borrowing money or investing money that you need to live is money that I believe you can't afford to lose. So that's money that I wouldn't suggest investing. But if you need to set your priority differently, so for example, you rather than going to the expensive restaurant, rather than buying the new shoes or anything like that, that is reasonable. That's money that you can afford to lose, and that's money that I rather suggest putting into your business opportunity rather than doing like luxury articles or buying luxury articles or doing other things. The optimal system. So what sort of system is good to choose? What should I do? What's a good system? So this video training series, as I said in the previous video, is designed to help you to choose or to make your own choices, to scan the market a little bit and to build your own strategy. So here, a good system to choose is a system where we know there is a real business. So we have to know where the money is generating in order to avoid ourselves to get involved into hype schemes, a hype system or Ponzi schemes. And it's always a good idea to have proof of where the money comes from. Okay, it's not always enough to believe. It's a good idea that we have proof. So proof can be trading reports, picture of the mining industry, pictures of offices, real events, or anything like that, that we have proof that the real business does actually exist. Obviously, even if you're looking at real businesses, there can be market fluctuation, government authorities that might interfere, anything that can affect the business. Obviously, that can happen. But if we know for sure that there's a real business involved, then we want to choose that system over a Ponzi scheme or a hype system. We also want to have a good relation between profit and stability. Again, if you have like a system that only pays you 5% a month, that is a system that obviously you can choose that system if you have a lot of time at your hands, you don't have any goals, you just want to simply have your money work for you. That's a system obviously that is a good choice because it's more likely to be stable over a long period of time. But most of you guys have goals, you want to achieve your goals, you want to maybe live from your business, then you want to have a good relation between profit and stability. So I normally suggest to start off with a stable system that gives you between 4 and 6% per week. So you have 2 stable systems or between 1 and 3 stable systems before you go into higher profit system. So I started a little bit differently. I had one high profit system that affected my business a little bit. So that's why I suggest make a choice between 4 to 6% a week or something around that, because those systems are more likely to be stable. If you're in the beginning of your business and you don't know where to start or what system to choose, just shoot me a message on Facebook. I can give you a couple of tips. Otherwise, I will pop in a link underneath of this video, a business that I started with, and I can highly recommend to get started with because it's very beginner friendly and it has a good compensation plan as well if you want to promote and choose to be a sponsor as well. And yeah, if it comes to promoting and you want to choose a system that you actually want to get something out of your promotional work, then it is also important to look at the compensation plan. So if you want to promote, it's a good idea to get a compensation plan that is rewarding. Again, I will be popping a video on a link underneath of this video towards a system that actually is helpful for that. So from a sales point of perspective or compensation referring point of perspective, compensation plans might be important if you choose to go that pathway. Okay, compounding. Compounding is the last point I want to talk about in this video. So we want to look at the questions: should I compound? How long should I compound? Or why should I compound? So compounding in this industry is very important because you want to build a system up in order to increase your weekly income, and that weekly income is going to be withdrawn and built into put into another system. So in this industry, we have to withdraw money in order to build other systems. So depending on how much money you have to invest, you want to compound one account, withdraw it, and put it into the next account. There are a couple of factors, and I'm giving you a couple of details or tips. So profit and stability is again very, very important when it comes to compounding decisions. So if you have a profitable system, so let's say like 10% a week or 15% a week, with 15% I'm always a little bit careful, but up to 15% is a realistic amount to make, especially when we're looking at Forex. Then I would build it up, but not for too long. Just build it up to your small target and then withdraw the money, but don't set your small target too high. If you have an unstable system, so if you go the pathway and choose confidently that you want to go into a hype scheme or a Ponzi scheme, some people go that pathway, then obviously it's not a good idea to build the system, just keep on withdrawing, or only build it for a very short period of time and then withdraw the money. Some people go that pathway. I normally try to avoid to go that way. And obviously, if you have a stable system with a little bit less returns, then obviously you can build a little bit longer and before you start to withdrawing the money, because you have more stability, the business is more likely to exist for a longer period of time. So that's a good system to compound a little bit longer. There are a couple of things that I personally wouldn't recommend to compound. So the first thing is, if you invested a large amount of funds into one system, I wouldn't suggest compounding. So what I would suggest to do is to withdraw the money until you have your seed money, so your initial money out, before you start compounding. Again, other people do it a little bit different. Other people try to double their money in the account, so they compound and then withdraw, but then your seed money is always at a higher risk. So I always would suggest, even if you lose a little bit of time of this, you're always on the safer side. Another thing, if you invest just a very small amount of money, let's say $100 per system, compounding would not be a good idea, because it doesn't bring you anywhere. The returns are going to be too low. What you can do though is to, if you have only, like let's say $100 per month at your hands, to compound, but then along the way keep on putting your $100 into one system or second system. So gradually build your business up. But if you are just happy to invest $100, hoping that you will have a good business from that, then that's going to be a little bit harder, because the returns are going to be too low in order to make it work. I always suggest to try to get your seed money out. As I said, other people go with different strategies. I normally choose to get my seed money out, even if we lose a little bit of time over that, just to be on the safe side. Unless you made the choice for yourself, you're not emotionally attached to the money is there to lose in worst case, then obviously you can compound. But then after compounding to your small goal, try to get your seed money out and put it into another system. Okay, I hope I helped you with that video. Gave you a couple of ideas for your own strategy. If you need new ideas or further have further questions, just pop in comment below or send me message over Facebook or a friendship request. If that video was helpful for you, then I would be happy if you leave me a thumbs up underneath the video or a comment or anything like that. That would help me as well. And yeah, in the next video, I will be talking about the opportunities that are out there. So I will think that this video is going to be a little bit longer. And then in the last video, I'm going to help you and give you a couple of tips about your own research, about how to choose a system, etc. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to have you in my next videos. Thank you for watching, and I wish you happy investing.